Good morning. So today, woke up at 82.7 kg. As expected, my weight did went up from yesterday's high sodium. Okay, but it was not as bad as I expected, right? So that is good, right? So today is a rest day. Okay, I know some of you guys, rest day is something you look forward to, right? But for maybe another bunch of you guys, maybe it's something that you dread because it means that you're not making progress, right? But this is not true, right? So rest days is definitely important when it comes to recovery because ultimately what we want to be able to achieve is long-term consistency, right? So anything that will affect this end goal, right, will potentially be a negative thing towards. So if let's say you are very eager to get the results and then you don't want to take a rest day, okay, sometimes after a while your body will get too fatigued and then you might need to take a longer break after that, right? So ultimately try to listen to your body and rest as necessary, okay? But with that being said, if let's say you are someone who want to maximize progress in terms of fat loss even on your rest days, here are some tips that I can share with you guys that I personally implement to help me achieve this, right? Because for me, I fall into the latter category, which is like I don't like to take rest days as well, right? So firstly is, of course, if what I did in the morning, I woke up, had a cup of coffee with some low-fat milk. So technically, I'm still in sort of like a fasted state. Then I went to did some low-intensity steady-state cardio, okay? Just some incline treadmill, 30 minutes. So what this does is, when you are in a fasted state or semi-fasted, because I did have some milk, we have some carbs in it, right? So usually, okay, what it does is your body will be already using primary fat as fuel. So in terms of our goal of losing fat, right, that is very ideal, right? So followed by doing low intensity, the body will be continuing the fat loss in terms of using the energy primarily from fats, right? So this is one thing, okay? So usually, okay, for my rest day, in terms of diet wise, right, usually I like to keep it more flexible, and then it's more of like a day where I want to address any cravings that I may have, because since I'm not training, I do not need to optimize my macronutrients as much as on my training days. Okay, so usually if I have any craving, I will try to see how I can implement them into my diet. Okay, but for today, there wasn't any craving since yesterday was quite a flexible day already, right? So woke up feeling neither here nor there in terms of food, okay? After cardio, I was quite hungry, right? So this is my current breakfast. Okay, right here is 4 chicken patties. Okay, so this is essentially like if you eat McDonald's sausage, it's something similar, but it's not from McDonald's lah. Okay, so let me have this, quite hungry. So to continue to optimize fat loss, right? After your fasted cardio, what you want to do is to have a breakfast as low carbs or ideally no carb as possible. So any sort of protein will be perfect. So for me, 4 chicken patty, you can have like 6 eggs, some salmon, anything that is primarily higher in fats and protein, 0 to little no carbs. So what this does is it will continue the fat burning in terms of like your body will still be using primary fat for fuel. Okay, so what this does is, let's say you eat carbs, right? It will spike your insulin. So you allow your body to have easily access fuel to use as energy, right? So usually when you eat carbs, your body would want to use those energy first. Okay, because ultimately fat is like a resource and is a survival thing for our body, right? So as much as possible, our body wants to reserve it as possible. But in order to continue our daily function, right, we still need to have some energy, right? So being in this mode will allow the body to use fat as fuel. But honestly, it is not so serious in a sense. Ultimately, end of the day, if you are sticking to your calories and hitting a protein intake, right, your body will do its job to regulate everything, and then you'll still likely achieve the same or similar results as someone who optimized this way, right? But to even It's just to give our body a assist lah, in a sense, right? To really make sure our body don't even use any like potential muscle or what as energy. Okay, so of course, if you want to lose even more fat, you can obviously drop calories on your rest day, right? But personally, if let's say everything is on track, that means your weekly weight loss is at the 1% body weight per week. Okay, there's no reason to reduce your calories even on rest days, because that's what we already calculate based on when we calculate the caloric deficit based on the activity level, right? But if you want, of course you can, but try not to drop more than, I would say, 20% of your caloric intake, okay? Yeah, so anything else? Yeah, but okay, when it comes to this low carb thing, right, like I said, it's not that serious. How I will see is, you know, if I do not have any particular craving or what, then maybe I will. So usually I have 3 meals, right? So breakfast, lunch will be low carb. Dinner, I must have carbs because usually I train in the morning, fasted the next day, right? So I want to make sure I have enough glycogen storage to help me with my workout in the morning, right? So that's just an example how I will do things. Okay, but let's say after this meal I have some cravings, okay, for maybe a high carb, high fat or whatever unhealthy junk food, doesn't matter. Okay, so as long as I can make it fit in my calories and I hate my protein at the end of the day, I'll go for it. So like I said, this is something you can try to do for yourself to try to optimize a bit more on the fat loss department, right? But whether is it completely necessary is really not. At the end of the day, it's calories in, calories out. Okay, then to maintain as much muscle as possible, just make sure to hit your protein, right? So I also, even for this, maximize the protein first. Then it's like a wild card, right, today for me. So later as I go along the day, if anything comes up that I want to eat, at least my protein is already being settled from a meal to meal kind of thing, right? So I hope this helps, okay? And I will see you guys tomorrow.